Business Expo. Thank you for stopping by Soapy Faith. And, we're definitely going to do some shopping today. But before we do that, we are going to talk about if you are looking to formulate your own product and 5 key steps that you need to take or things that you need to think about before you even get started, or if you're already started, things that you may want to incorporate in your already existing brand. But before that, I'll quickly introduce myself and then introduce my co-partner. Anyways, I am the co-founder and brand director of Soapy Faith. We are a clean body care brand based out of the Bay Area, California. We make clean and natural skincare, especially formulated for sensitive skin and eczema. We're also an inspirational brand, and all of our products, especially our flagship soaps that we're most known for, are packaged with inspirational messages to uplift your day. I co-founded the brand with my 2 sisters, of course, that you will be talking to today. They'll be answering questions around the brand as well as answering all your guys' questions around our products. So I'll show you what the soaps look like. These are our soaps, and they come with the little inspirational messages. Take it out of the thing, out of the bag, and then we have the inspirational message card. This one says, "Don't set your goals by what other people deem important." Bam. So, like I said, all of our products are made, they're specially formulated for sensitive skin and eczema. And one of our key ingredients, which we call our hero ingredient, which is really an age-old ingredient, but a lot of people are not really highlighting anymore, which is our plant-based glycerin. Glycerin is amazing for your skin, especially if you have super sensitive skin, easily irritated skin, or you deal with common skin sensitivities such as eczema, psoriasis, or really any form of common skin irritation. The reason why glycerin is amazing is because, of course, it's very rich and hydrating to the skin. It's also known as a humectant. Things we also know as a humectant is like honey. Basically, what a humectant means is it helps your skin draw moisture from the air, as well as it protects your natural moisture barrier in the skin. So every time we get out of the shower, in like a typical bar of soap that you would find from any common skincare brand out of a big box retail store, typically, it cleanses your skin, but the way in which it cleanses your skin is it's stripping your natural oils and your natural moisture out of your skin. And then when you get out, you feel kind of tight and dry. And then you're like, okay, I need to put on some body butter or some lotion. What glycerin does and its humectant properties is not only does it give you a rich and nourishing lather to your skin, which everyone loves, it also helps your skin to draw moisture. So it protects your natural moisture in your skin when you're washing, and then it helps you draw moisture from the air, as well as the all-natural plant-based oils put additional moisture in your skin. So it's hydrating and soothing while gently cleansing without stripping your skin. Then when you get out of the shower, your skin is gently cleansed and your moisture barrier is protected and it's open to be able to absorb the natural moisture that is out in the air in the environment. Hence, the result is more soft, hydrated, and soothed skin that can eventually help to heal those common skin sensitivities that we have over time, like eczema, psoriasis, and those things. So that is why a lot of our customers rant and rave over our products, because all of our products contain our hydrating plant-based glycerin. So the reason we are talking about this is because what's super important when you're creating a product is not only the ingredients and the formulation, but the science behind how it works. So we brought our friend and supporting chemist, Dr. Donald White, and we're gonna have kind of an authentic conversation around kind of formulating your own products. There's a bunch of people, so many entrepreneurs are either thinking about creating a brand or already starting to create a brand. And we just want to talk about why the science is so important. So many people have products, but we don't really talk about the science of why the ingredients are important or how they really work for your skin. So we talked a little bit about how Soapy Faith works for your skin. So we're going to just kind of go into a discussion about some of the common things that you should think about if you want to create your own either skincare product or hair care product or just cosmetic type product in general. So I will let Dr. Donna White introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Dr. Donna White. I am a polymer chemist, nanoscientist. I am from the Bay Area, so I come from Richmond, California. I have worked in the field for about 14 years in chemistry. And so I received my PhD in materials. And so I have a little bit of expertise in nanoparticles and nanoscience and also polymers. I've been with Soapy Faith, helping out the young ladies as much as I can for about, 3 years now, 2 years now, something like that.
Yeah, probably around like 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years. Yeah, and counting. Time's flying. So I'll be here to just talk a little bit about, the different types of products that people would like to formulate, and also talk a little bit about soap and the soap making process, right? So, and normally what some of the things that you actually see from like a commercial standpoint, right? I won't talk about any brand specifically, but I'll be like really generic when it comes to like actual the soap making process, right? So in the case of Soapy Faith, we actually have this process called saponification, right? Where you take a fatty acid and you interact that with a weak base, and the product is this is acid-base reaction, right? And so one of the products are um, salt and water. In this case, the salt is the actual soap. And then you get another byproduct, which is glycerin. So you heard Michelle talk about that a little bit earlier, where you get this actual third product. Now, from an industry standpoint, normally what happens is they take the glycerin out away from the soaps. And so, again, you heard her talk about the glycerin being a humectant and, kind of helping to preserve that moisture at the dermis layer on the body, so the skin. And what will normally happen is that they'll sell you the glycerin back in moisturizers, lotions, and things of that nature. So, of course, Soapy Faith didn't spare no expense. They actually kept the glycerin in the soap. And so, therefore, helping to actually hydrate the skin. So I think it was important for us to note that there were like 5 things that we wanted to actually touch on when you wanted to actually produce something, like say you wanted to produce your own product, right? And so we came up with 5 key objectives that can actually kind of help you reach that goal. So do you want to start it off, Michelle, or should I?
Yes, we can start it off, but before we get into that, when you were talking about how these major brands are actually extracting the glycerin and they're reselling it back to us, I think this is really important, especially for people of color, because we use these products, and people of color, the reason why it was so important to us to go into this business is because, number one, my sister, who is our co-founder, she is a survivor of breast cancer. Her breast cancer was basically diagnosed as like environmental, which basically means it comes from the environment, or they don't really know where it comes from. So they're basically just saying basically your environment, possibly your day-to-day lifestyle is what contributed to the disease in your body. So once she recovered, she is 8-year survivor. So once she recovered, we really started looking at the things that we were kind of using on our body, and also, of course, the things that we were eating, and just wanted to have a more cleaner and more holistic lifestyle. So when we think about the products that we're buying, a lot of these products contain harsh ingredients. They contain a lot of um, ingredients that over time can not only be damaging to our skin, but can also be damaging to our body. And in the people of color community, we actually get either formally or informally diagnosed with a lot of these common skin sensitivities that we think about. Pretty much almost every person of color that you'll hear about, whether they actually have sensitive skin or not, they kind of deem themselves as I have super sensitive skin, I can't use anything, I get easily irritated, or they say, oh, I have eczema or I have psoriasis. They've either been clinically diagnosed by a doctor, or they kind of have self-diagnosed themselves with skin sensitivities, which is pretty common. And I think a lot of it, based on research and just kind of like some data, a lot of it comes from not only the environments that we're kind of living day to day, but also the products we're using. And a lot of the products is not as a fault of our own. In our communities, these are the products that are highly available. These are some of the products that are most cost effective. So when creating a brand now, it's like, how can we provide not only for the general public, but how can we really serve our people, especially Black people, especially people of color, and provide something that is much more nourishing, much cleaner, and much safer for our bodies, that can actually begin to help us and heal us, and at least keep us safe, and make sure that we're having that form of self-care and that form of self-love on our body that's not harming us. Because we all like to feel good, we like to smell good, but at the end of the day, it's about keeping our bodies and our skin healthy and protected. So I think that is important when you're thinking about, you want to make a product, kind of thinking about why you want to do it, and what is really that impact that you are trying to make a change for in this overall industry, whether it's from a science perspective, a STEM perspective, or whether it's from a business and product making perspective. So let's go into our 5 things that you need to think about. So if you sitting at home like we are, and you're like, look, I want to make a product, I want to change the game, I want to change the world, or you're already making a product and you're like, how can I make my product more effective? How can I make it better? What are some things that I need to think about? Do I need a chemist? Do I need to know the science?
Right.
We're about to let you know all of that. So let's start with point number 1 is, what problem are you looking to solve? So we all know when starting a business, the biggest thing is, we know we all want to just, when you're thinking about an idea, it's exciting just to kind of get out there and start. It's exciting to say, oh, I want to make a body butter. I want to make a shampoo, a conditioner, a lipstick, a soap, or whatever it is. But we really want to look at, do some research. What are some of the problems that we think we initially want to solve? Like, first, what is something you think of that you would like to solve? And then really start looking at the data, looking at the market, the cosmetic industry overall, the skincare industry, the beauty industry is saturated. So you want to look at, what are some things that are already being solved? Where are some areas of opportunity where we don't see too many people focusing on? For us, we saw a lot of people, especially when we started in 2015, we saw a lot of people starting with body butters, body scrub, more so the aftercare of when you got out of the bath. Everyone is, and that's really because an issue that a lot of people have is dry skin. So we're thinking about, how do you solve dry skin? We're looking at it from an after shower perspective, but it was important for us to kind of address that in one of the first stages of actually your body care, which is in the shower. So thinking about what problem you want to solve. Do you deal with acne prone skin? Do you deal with hyperpigmentation? Are you looking to moisturize curly hair? Are you looking to cleanse the scalp? Are you looking for, do you want to have more that are cosmetic products or whatever that problem is that you're looking to solve, really understanding what that is and then understanding what the market is kind of already doing.
Okay, so that was very well said. I think you touched on all points. I actually don't have anything to add there. That was great.
Okay.
Uh, so number two, we want to look at the ingredients. So how do you actually put this product together? So when addressing, your problem solving stage, number one, the next thing you want to look at is what kind of things can I actually put together, right? To address some of these issues. So if it's dry skin, what type of things actually help with dry skin? If it is, curly hair, what type of things help to nurture curly hair? And so there is a myriad of different chemicals and products out there that you can look for, right? To actually help address those things. And should I go into number three or do you want to take number three?
Before we go into number three, wait, what's number three?
Number three is like kind of tied right into number two. So
Oh
number
yeah,
two is ingredients,
yeah,
and
and
number
then
three is your actual,
formulation.
formulation. So in the scientific community, or as chemists, we call it the formulary, right? So you'll hear it called the formulary, and that's basically just your main list of active ingredients and even inactive ingredients, right? So some things are there for, just thickening agents like emulsifiers and so forth. So it really depends on, your formulation, putting these things together, and then how well do they interact with one another. So your formulation is going to be key because that's going to be specific to your product, right? And you're going to be administering that to the population. So one is problem solving, two are the ingredients, three is the actual specific formulation that you come up with. Okay.
Right. So that's good. So when we talk about formulations, let's talk about, I want to break down a little bit the type of
Okay.
ingredients because right now, clean beauty,
All right.
natural skincare, natural hair care, natural cosmetics,
Yep.
all those type of buzzwords are kind of like booming in the market right now.
Oh yeah.
The most accepted brands in the market right now, um, hands down, are clean beauty brands, whether it's natural. And when I say accepted, I mean like market wise,
Right.
socially accepted, not necessarily, the most effective. That we're gonna go into formulation at that when we talk about efficacy, but the brands that are pretty much really accepted by the market and what buyers are really looking for is cleaner brands. So I'll kind of talk about the two types of ingredients, and then Donald, you can touch on, if I missed anything.
Yeah.
Um,
No, most definitely.
so we have in the natural care market, whether it's, makeup, but we'll talk about skincare. In the natural skincare market, you have two different types of kind of buckets of ingredients. And then there's, of course, there's gray areas and variations in the middle. But the main two things that you'll see when you look at certain brands or certain products is you'll see more raw ingredients, like companies that focus around raw ingredients. For example, like tea tree oil or um, raw shea butter or coconut oil, raw plant-based ingredients that are almost kind of like in their most natural state that they can be in before they're put together in a formulation. The other type of ingredients you have are considered like clean ingredients. These are not necessarily, these are most of the time, clean ingredients are plant based. If they're not plant based, they're clean, meaning they don't have what you would consider like harsh chemicals. So, of course, there's all type of chemicals, and Donald can go into that in a second,
Yep.
but things that we wouldn't consider harsh chemicals. So they're clean ingredients that in formulation are safe and effective and still healthy for your skin, but they either can come from plant-based sources or they can come from synthetic sources, but they're still clean. So some ingredients that you may have heard of is like hyaluronic acid or retinoids, things like that. These are things that are more clinical and they tend to be highly effective, but they're still considered clean and safe, in whatever, as long as they're safely formulated. So they're safe on your skin. Then you have companies that do a blend of both. They may do some clean synthetics mixed with a blend of raw ingredients, or they may have some products that are straight raw ingredients, and some products that are a blend of both. And then you have for fragrance, everyone loves, especially for skincare, everyone loves that, kind of aromatherapy and sensory part of skincare. And so you have like your essential oils, which come from essential and natural like sources. So essential oils are normally, there's only a few sets of essential oils that are actually safe for really topical use. So
Right.
that's normally why most of those products will be kind of in the same scent set, like lavender or lemongrass or natural more senses like that. And then you have clean synthetics. So these are synthetics that do not include harsh chemicals, for example, like phthalates that are not included, which is actually a skin irritant. So they're clean synthetics, which mean you can use them on your skin without irritating your skin in proper, again, that's all about proper formulation, but that's how you get um, different blends of fragrances. So when companies have like all these amazing blends of fragrances, normally they got it from a blend of either essential oils mixed with synthetics or a synthetic blend or a blend of essential oils, because um, you kind of will have to mix fragrances together to get those different type of scents. If you just kind of stick to just essential oils, you'll kind of be in that category of those scents. Neither one is better. It's all about the formulation and what experience you're trying to create for your customers. So hopefully that's helpful. Um,
So a couple of things that you pointed out that I think we need to kind of like flush out a little bit more is you said something about the natural products and the essential oils, and then you use the terminology clean, right? So when we talk about clean chemicals, it's also not just the chemical itself, but the actual process in which it was extracted out of the plant. So you might have a compound that is inside, some kind of plant-based material, and maybe they used harsh organic solvents to actually pull those compounds out of your plant-based material, and so that process might leave over like some residuals, right? So those residuals or that residue can actually cause irritations with the skin, or it can change the integrity of your overall product. So you want to be leery of that. You want to make sure that the process in which these compounds were derived was not so harsh that it's leaving things over. And so clean also means purity, right? So you don't have multiple compounds that can cause secondary and tertiary reactions, right? Or irritations to the customer. So you want to kind of keep that in mind as well. Again, Michelle said something about those essential oils, and so some of these compounds are extracted of various ways, right? I've seen them extracted through steam distillation. I've seen them taken out through different solvent methods. And, no matter how it is, the types of compounds that are actually being pulled out, are highly reactive, and well, not highly reactive, but they are reactive, and they cause skin irritations and different types of inflammations, and they can even cause chemical burns. So you want to be cognizant of that as well. So kind of just knowing your product. So the ingredients would be in the back. The back research on actually before you actually put together a formulation is like going to be absolutely critical. It's going to be vital that you know what types of things cause irritations, what types of things cause chemical burns, and to ensure that you're not actually inadvertently putting someone in the hospital, right? So thought I'd just throw that in there.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And then from a consumer perspective, I think what that means for a consumer is that despite the fact that we learn so much from like Google and we learn so much from like
Right.
beauty bloggers and from the internet, I think it's important to understand that when you're choosing your skincare product, especially if you say, okay, I want to stay clean, meaning no harsh chemicals or toxins, but when you're thinking about choosing a product, you really want to not only think about overall formulation, unless of course you have some allergy to a certain ingredient, then of course that's a whole nother story. But what you don't want to do is look at a product and say, oh, this product has, fragrance, or this product has
Mm,
essential oil, or this product has coconut oil, so it's going to cause acne or it's going to irritate my skin. What you really want to understand is not only do you trust the brand, does it look like, they have some consistency? Does it look like this is a trusted brand that you can buy from? And then, trying out the product so you can see if that formulation works for you. Because I think a lot of people, they hear fragrance or they
right.
hear certain ingredient, they hear, oh, does this have alcohol, or oh, does this have witch hazel? And they stay away from the product because they don't want to have a adverse reaction, which is normal because your skin, once it gets irritated, it's kind of like it's stressful trying to get it back together. So
Correct.
it's important to remember that, from a consumer perspective, that as hard as we try to just avoid certain things, that it's really all about formulation. So if you want to try a product, just really focus on, if that product is going to be right for you versus a specific ingredient.
Very important statement you made that I want to just reiterate. Fragrance does not necessarily mean irritation. So just because you have a product that has a fragrance in it doesn't mean that it's going to actually irritate you. And that's important. It's all about, so the science or the chemistry behind it, it's all about reaction or reactivity, right? So you got some things that are more chemically inert, or they don't have the energetics to overcome to actually cause a reaction. And then you got some things that just, almost cause a reaction almost immediately. So I think that, it's important to just note that just because something has, as somebody on the street would say, a smell to it, right, doesn't mean that, you know what I'm saying? Just because it has a smell doesn't mean that it's actually going to cause an irritation. So I think that's important to know because you see a lot of things being, kind of sold or marketed to the population that says, hey, this is, hypoallergenic. There's no smell. There's no dyes. There's no this. There's no that. But I mean, you can have dyes that, don't cause any reaction, right? So if you think of things like food coloring, they don't actually cause a reaction. People ingest these things. So, you just want to kind of be aware that scents don't necessarily mean that it's going to actually cause an adverse reaction.
Right. And I think that's definitely important because that was important to us because, when you're cleansing yourself, like that
Right.
sensory experience is important. But how do you balance that sensory experience and formulation with making sure that, we're not irritating our customer skin. We're still getting that same efficacy as far as hydration and that soothing experience. Um, to our customer. And so, how do we kind of balance that? And balancing that is with obviously formulation and, of course,
Right.
amazing people like Dr. White. So, I guess we can go into our next one.
Okay. Number four. Number four was, I didn't have to look at it, but I looked at it anyway. Number four was testing, right? So now you've got your ingredients, you've put together your formulation of what, your different ratios of what you think you want to use. Now you have to actually test it. And there's a couple of things you're actually testing for. You're testing for shelf life. You're testing for, viability. Does this work? Right? You're testing for to see if it's going to irritation. So there's a couple of different things that you're actually looking for when you putting together your test. So chemical stability, and also like storage conditions. Like, what conditions do you actually store your product in? Does it need to be in a cool, dry place? Is it UV active, meaning does light cause it to degrade? Does it cause it to change any? And so that's also a part of the chemical stability. So, also important to note that you want to look at your laws on testing, right? So of course you don't want to be testing on animals or anything like that. That's crazy. And so you want to look at your market. So you might actually be selling products in, like, let's say the UK or Europe, whereas they might have a different set of laws and rules. And I think in the UK, you actually have to have clinical trials on all your cosmetic products like soaps and stuff. But in the US, you don't have to have clinical trials per se, but you still want to ensure a high level of, safety and, quality products. So there's a certain amount of tests and determination that you want to definitely implore. So um, testing is like it's number four, but it's still it's up there high on the list as far as importance. Did you
Yeah,
have anything you want to add?
that's definitely important. And so the people are probably going to be like, okay, we're talking about formulating a product. So what if I'm just
Right.
sitting here and I'm like, man, how do I start formulating? Like what is that process? So I'll kind of take you through what we did, and what you could do, um, starting off, or if you're just starting. So there's kind
Right.
of two main ways. Again, there's a million ways to do things, but these are some of the main ways that you'll see in your most common, brands that are out there. You have two type of two types of brands. You have brands that, they we self formulated. That's basically what we did at first,
Right.
was self formulating. I actually do not formulate our products. I'm an expert on all of our products, but my two amazing sisters and co-founders actually formulate all of our products, and they've actually been in the body care or skin care, making industry for like 15 plus years. So, one thing you'll see is the founder that starts researching ingredients, and this is what I want to solve, this is what I want to do, and start kind of playing it around, in their kitchen or their garage or their warehouse or wherever, and start mixing and kind of formulating ingredients. Then you have, the person that may say, you know what, I don't even want to start really playing with ingredients on my own. Let me hire somebody like Dr. White or a cosmetic chemist that can help me kind of process what I want to do.
Right.
Help me go through my ingredients and help me actually create that formulation. And then there's two ways of getting the product produced. You can either self-produce your product, where you grow it from where you are, which is kind of like us. We grew our brand from our garage, and now
Right.
we manufacture our own products, and then you scale from there. Whether we're going to continue to manufacture them on our own, or, later on introduce a partner to help us manufacture whatever we choose to do as we continue to scale. So you can do that where you start making your own products, and or you can do it where you get a cosmetic chemist and then you source a manufacturer to actually help you, to produce that product, to where you're not actually making it, but you've actually custom created a formula along with
Right.
your chemist, and then you're getting your manufacturer basically to replicate, that formula and process for you. Neither one, is better than the other. Whichever one you choose to do, that is, all a part of your journey, what you're trying to accomplish, your resources that are obviously available, and like kind of the outcome you want. You just have to kind of weigh your options. There's people in the beauty business that have become multimillionaires and billionaires doing it both ways. People who went straight to a chemist, and people who started off, in their kitchen. So, like I said, my sisters and I, we started in our garage, kind of self-formulating products. Really, the important thing to know is, if you are self-formulating, is that you still want to do your research as if you're a chemist. the importance of bringing Dr. White on today is just to kind of get you to think
Yes.
like a chemist too. You know what I'm saying? Think like
Yes.
a chemist. Think like, let me research the science. Let me really understand these ingredients. Kind of how we broke down the glycerin to you in the beginning.
Yep.
Really understanding, what do my ingredients do? How do they work? How do they work with the body? Finding out as much as you can. Where do they come from? How do they extract these ingredients? For example, um, palm oil is used pretty often in the skincare and cosmetic industry. There's a big thing around palm oil because the way they source the palm oil from the rainforest. So how is it sourced? Is it sourced ethically, or is it sourced where they're harming rainforests and animals? So there's two types of, there's companies that use ethically sourced. So that's
Right.
supposed to be, that's proven or shown or hopefully better for the environment. We're hoping that's
Right.
the overall outcome. And then there's not ethically sourced, which we're pretty much like, we don't want to damage any plants. We don't want to damage any rainforests or animals in the process. So really understand everything you possibly can about
Yep.
your ingredients, and
Yep.
then start your formulation and really do a lot of that testing as much as you can. In whatever space that you're in, before you're just like, boom, got something and just jump out. I think that was one
Right.
of the ways that we were able to be successful, is really educating ourselves. Think about, don't think like, okay, I'm just making something. Really start to put yourself in like, okay, now I want to put myself as much as I possibly can. I may not be able to afford or work with a chemist yet, but I want to start thinking like a chemist, thinking like a scientist now.
Most
And then
definitely.
maybe in the future, I'll be able to bring that, that chemist partner in, which is what kind of the journey that we did.
So I wanted that, like, walks right into number five. It walks right into number five. Know the science, right? So the fifth thing is know the science. Know about your product. You want to be able to answer the questions. Michelle said earlier that she was a subject matter expert. She understood. She's an expert for her brand, right? So she's an ambassador. She knows the ins and outs, right? Now, does she have the formal training in the lab, at the bench? No, she doesn't. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't know about her product. She knows about the ingredients. She knows about how they were sourced. She knows about how they come together, and she knows about how they're going to interact with the body. All of those things are huge, absolutely vital, to putting together a product once you've come up with a formulation and making sure that product is safe and has a low environmental impact. You want to know the science. You most definitely want to know the science. And I know that might scare some people off, but it's really, science is really like a language. It's like learning a second language, really, but it's in your home language. So it's almost like, I like to call it a formal slang, if you will. So it's almost kind of like a jargon, whereas you have these common words and then you have these official words, right? So, like, you might have your real name and then you have your nickname in your family. So you want to look at it just like that and not really get intimidated by the big, long, super long words, and kind of just start to unpack some of the things and what they're telling, because they actually tell a story about this compound that you have going inside of your product. So, and then from that, it'll tell you about, different physical properties and chemical properties, right? So you want to really just kind of get into the minutia a little bit, and start to unpack some of these things, and not really be intimidated by kind of what's going on on the other realm of the science, right? So over here in the science world, you don't want to get intimidated by the large, multi-syllable words and what have you. But the science is definitely there as an aid to help you kind of determine, what it is that you want to accomplish, right? So you want to know the science. And that's pretty much what I had on that fifth one.
Yeah, I think that's definitely important. What I would say has been super important from running a brand where we interact with thousands of customers and we served over 100,000 customers,
Woo.
is what's really
That's
important
impressive.
is really knowing the science. That's so important because
Right.
um it helps you to really be able to effectively communicate with your customer and build trust. So with skincare products, of course, once you start testing on your family and friends and small markets, they're like, "Oh my God, I love it. This is amazing. It's making my hair feel great. The makeup product looks nice, or the skincare product feels good, or the beard oil is, shining me up."
Right.
Donald is course he's like, "Oh my God, this is the best. This is the best kept secret. Like, let's put it out
It
there."
is.
Then we start putting it out there to hundreds of customers, right? And then the hundreds of customers they're loving it. They're not really asking too many questions. They're just like, "Oh, let me try it because I wanna support." That word support,
Right.
right?
Right.
But then you build a larger audience. So you may have more complex questions around your product, or you may have more complex, maybe issues that customers are going to ask you about. And granted, you don't want to put yourself in a process of diagnosing or trying to become a doctor, but just
Right.
kind of understanding what are some of the questions, being intuitive about what are some of the questions that our customers are asking, and how can I find out more about my product, more about my market, in order so that I can kind of walk them through that process of what that means for their skin.
So
Um,
so hold on, let me interject really quick, because
yeah.
what are some of the FAQs that you get specifically from women? Because I know we've talked about this and we've actually seen some of the frequently asked questions. There's one in particular that I'm thinking about, but I'm gonna let you say it. I know you're gonna hit it right on the head. So, what are some of the frequently asked questions that you guys get from, pretty much on a daily basis?
Yeah, so some of the frequently asked questions are, obviously, one of the biggest things is because our products smell amazing. So
Right.
when
They do.
people, smell them, they're like, my God, it smells so good. Like, I love this. This would be nice to like keep in my drawer as like,
A
a modern
keepsake.
day potpourri, because
Right.
I have real sensitive skin. And I can't use nothing on it. Like, all I can use is
Right.
like air, because anything else
Right.
but a little bit of air and a couple drops of water really, it tears
Right.
me up, right? And
Right.
so then we start breaking down kind of like how our products work with the skin, and how they're specially
Right.
formulated for even the most sensitive skin. And people also, especially women, are
Mhm.
also very concerned about their intimate area. And so it's important to talk about not only what your products are made for, because we always say that we don't market our products as like an intimate wash or a feminine wash. We
Right.
market it as a soap and a body, or if you want to use it on your facial care bar, or we market it as a soap. So anything that you can use soap on,
Right.
that's what we push it as. We don't necessarily market as an intimate care product. However, but what we talk about is how our ingredients are formulated, and our ingredients are soap. When we're talking about the common pH balance of a soap, our soap is actually closer pH balance to our skin's natural pH, which means that when you're washing your body, that it's more likely to not disrupt your skin and your body's natural pH. And then on top of that, again, all of our ingredients are gentle, and all of our ingredients are clean. And then also it's made to keep moisture in your skin. So of course that means, whether it's, the suds are dripping all over, it's made to uh, help your skin absorb moisture, not strip it out. So that's one of our most frequently asked questions is, number one, can I use it on sensitive skin? And number two, is it going to interrupt, my pH balance. So we always kind of explain to them the ingredients, first of all, what it's made for. But then if they do choose that they want to just go ahead and use it, so many of our customers do. So many of our customers actually rant and rave about how
Yep.
they use it all over and they never have any issues compared to maybe previous products that we were using. And so we always talk about how it's still scientifically formulated to be gentle, to be used all over the body. So that's definitely frequently asked.
That was perfect because that was exactly what I was hitting on because women actually have different body chemistry than men, and so with when you talk about those private areas where you're actually trying to clean and you're getting soap pretty much everywhere. By the way, this soap suds really, really well. So, even in hard water situations where you might have, these different minerals in your water that'll keep your soap from sudding up. That doesn't really happen with soapy face. So, even in those hard water conditions, it suds really well. So, you got a good lather. Um, all over, and you might have, some suds running in some of those unmentionables, and you're still it's still formulated gently. So I thought I would just, kind of ask, but ask indirectly because I thought it was important for you to address that again, just because a soap has a good smell, or it's all about the formulation and the ingredients, right? So
Exactly.
ingredients are number one key.
Yeah,
So
and then what the product, of course, is supposed to be used for. If you buy a product and they say it's a deodorant and you
right,
you just use it in a different place and then it happened to irritate you or whatever,
right,
then you know
right,
what I'm saying. So always be cognizant of what the product is initially made for, and then choose how you want to go from there. But I think it's really important because the more you know about your product, the more you're able to educate your customers and build trust, right? Because especially when it comes to cosmetic products, hair products, skincare, this is our body and
right.
we want to keep it looking in its best condition.
You
So
only get one.
exactly. So we
You only
have
get
to
one.
and especially, people of color, black people, we're a little skeptical. So,
Right,
if we're looking to purchase something, we we are inquisitive consumers,
right,
and we like trust to be built. And I think especially important, not to just, it's Black History Month, but not just to focus on if you're a black owned brand, but if you're a black owned brand, it's especially even more important to be able to build trust, not only with your own people, but to be able to build trust so that you can broaden your market to really be able to capture any kind of customer that you may want to acquire. So it's really important to know your product, to know your market, so that when those questions come, or even when some of those complaints come, you're able to say, hey, thank you for that feedback. This is how we formulate our product, or this is something that we've actually heard before in the market. You
right,
can even know what to look out for. Like, we know what type of things our customers, we have kind of knowledge, or what are some of the possible reactions that our customer could say, and things that we know sound pretty like we've heard before, and things that are quite like, okay, maybe it
peculiar.
wasn't necessarily our product that caused this, right? Because
Right,
when you have a product, you open yourself, you're serving a customer. When you're serving people, they
correct.
really can say anything. They can say, oh, my leg fell off. And you're like, okay, I don't think, using a conditioner that there's no
Made your leg fall off.
way make your
Right.
leg fall off. So things, but if someone says, my scalp itches, you're like, okay,
Mm,
this is something that could possibly be caused by maybe this essential oil. Or maybe I've heard this before, that if you leave it on your scalp for longer than an hour, or you're using it, maybe it's a straight washout conditioner, but that customer used it as a overnight deep conditioner.
right,
So you start to know what kind of questions to ask your customer. So how long did you leave it on, or how did you use it, or did you use it along with this product, or did you use our shampoo, or did you use it with our body butter? Or let's say you create a soap and someone's like, oh, My skin's still dry. Okay,
Right.
well, did you use it along with our butter? Did you moisturize your skin right after, showering? Did you, dry your skin all the way dry, or did you pat dry? So really just understanding the science, and then
Right.
understanding the customer, understanding that customer journey when they're using that product, and then understanding
Right.
your overall market will really set you up to be a subject matter expert, even if you're just in the beginning of your business.
I think well, I didn't want to cut you out, but I think that you kind of just hit on that falls under testing again, right? So you know, application. So that's one of the things I didn't actually say, but again, I think you indirectly flushed out application. Like, how do you actually apply your product? That falls under testing. Is 1 hour too long? Is 2 hours not long enough? Right.
Right.
So it really depends. It falls back on the ingredients, but you find out all of that information in the testing phase.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that you made a really good point.
So, Dr. White, you're amazing. You're like
Thanks, Michelle. So are you.
so
Of course.
smart. You know what I'm saying? So, if someone's like, okay, I want to get started and I'm thinking about maybe I want to use a chemist or a
Right.
cosmetic chemist, I'm not sure, where would they go to kind of find that person?
So you can do a couple of things. You can do a Google search for a cosmetic chemist, right? Where what is that, like the yellow pages or something like that, where you're actually going and looking up different people who have listed themselves as cosmetic chemists. Or and this is one of the things that I kind of recommend too. That's kind of a cost-effective method. You can actually go to schools where people are training to be cosmetic chemists, right? Specifically training for cosmetic chemistry, and you can catch them right out of school. And normally when people are first starting off, they're really affordable, and so I highly recommend that you kind of have as much that you can do on your own already completed, and you know exactly what it is that you want, because once you've done that, you say, hey, I just need you to formulate. I just need you to formulate and test. I just need, efficacy. I just need, and so if you know specifically what it is that you need, then you can say, hey, I need this one thing, or I need these two things. And then, how much is that going to cost me? Boom. And especially if you're getting, someone who just got their credentials, then, they tend to not have the experience. So they're picking up the actual, they're picking up the work as they can to like build that kind of experience, so that they're trusted before they get to maybe some large company like a Revlon or something like that. And you know hey, those are some of the things you can actually do. Or you can go to a college and get a straight chemist. We are trained in basic formulations, emotions, and stuff like that, but where the cosmetic chemist specifically kind of has the more expertise is they have a repository of different types of chemicals already used, and then how they interact with the body. So there'll be more, kind of adapted to the industry, right? So it's more of, an industry specific type of chemist, but we all have the basic fundamental formulation skills that, one might possess to, kind of help a person, especially a novice that's just starting out, trying to put together like a basic formulation or something like that. So those are some of the things that I would highly recommend.
Yes, and they're probably like, "Oh, Soapy sisters, how did you guys find Dr. Donald White?" Well,
Soapy sister.
the Soapy sisters, you can pretend like they're right here, but right, no, for real. So anyway, so we found Dr. White from Tuskegee University, where we
Yep,
both
TU.
attended. Where we both attended. I graduated with my degree in sales and marketing. So my background is in sales. Um, and business development. I worked in corporate and actually manufacturing for over 5 years, and then in the tech industry for over 5 years. And
Mhm.
Donald, you know, because
So, and I got my bachelor's and my master's degree in chemistry, and then I got a PhD in materials. So I'm a materials chemist because we live in a material world. And I kind of went into all different types. I think my first job in the field was actually as a water chemist. So um, I was working for like a water bottling company first, and doing other little things as well, like tutoring and teaching. I've been teaching at the collegiate level for multiple universities, probably for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years or so, something like that. I don't want to date myself, but yeah, so I've been in the realm of chemistry for a very long time now. I'm just kind of getting my PhD feet up under me. It's been a couple of years with my PhD. I actually conferred that in 2019. So what are we looking at? 3 years now. So two years.
so yeah.
20, yeah, 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. So 2 years now. Um, I feel like we're in a vacuum with COVID. I mean, I've been in the house for a whole year, so it's kind of weird, man. Right. So, yeah, so about 2 years now with the PhD, but had the master's prior to that, working and just doing little stuff, projects here and there, and definitely helping Soapy Faith where I could. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, that's not it, actually. It's not it. I did get some, I do have some patent pending technology too. Forgot about that.
Yeah, so it was pretty much perfect because we, um, when we launched, when we launched Soapy Faith, when we co-founded Soapy Faith, it was perfect because Dr. White, prior to being Dr. White, was of course always in the lab, always testing. So it was perfect for us to collaborate, and it really important for us again just prior to co-founding Soapy Faith. My sisters actually had a body care brand in which they were already formulating stuff on their own. So we knew the second time around, really taking our business and our purpose and our customer base more seriously, we knew it was important to incorporate the science and really come at formulating our product and
I think it's,
serving our
I think
customers
it's,
from a different perspective.
I think it's important for you to say that your sister was formulating 15 years ago, and she had been formulating for 15 years. That's important. So, it just goes to what you said before. You can formulate. You don't have to have formal training to put together, a product for yourself. You want to do as much as you can before you go and pull, a scientist in, because you're going to have to pay for that scientist. And starting out, one of the things that companies don't have is capital. She was formulating. She didn't wait to have money to have a scientist. She did it on her own. And so there's a lot of things that you have the power to do. So I just wanted to say that again, that she was formulating, you know what I mean? And so she became an expert in her own right. And so, again, she's a subject matter expert, very, very, very knowledgeable. So I just wanted to throw that out there. You're a chemist too.
Yes. So they was cooking it up. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
the thing about it is
Mhm.
15 plus years ago when they had a body care brand, a bath and body company prior to Soapy Faith, they actually had like 20 plus products. So
Wow,
pretty
I
much
didn't know that.
everything that you see on the market now, from body butter, body oil, body scrub, bath soap, candles, melt wax melts, anything that you see people selling, we pretty much had all of those products. So one
Wow.
bonus tip is that although that sounds amazing, right? To be able to come in the store like, oh, it's like a mini Bath and Body Works and get anything. When you're formulating a product, you want to start focusing on maybe like just a few products and get those down. What we did, one thing that really helped us to be successful the second time around is when we first, founded Soapy Faith, we founded Soapy Faith pretty much on the backs of just the soap. So before we had anything else, we perfected
Powerful.
the soap formula. So many people, when we first started, were like, what else do you have? Like we had soap. Like
Right.
people kind of almost like overlook the importance of that, cleansing experience. Like everybody
Right.
obviously has to clean, but they get more excited about, other parts of the experience of your
Right.
skincare
Right.
routine. So people are like, what else do you have besides soap? And so we were really determined to focus on making sure that we were doing one product right before we expanded, and we built
Yep.
our customer loyalty and our customer trust off of our flagship and hero product, which is our soap. And then from there, when you launch other products, you've built that trust within your community. And so now they're more apt to buy other products for you because they know
Right.
they now trust your formulation, they now trust your brand, they now trust that whatever you put out is going to work, whether it is or not. For whatever company, you don't know, but you built that trust and your customers are willing to
Right.
take a chance and invest in you because you started off with just a few products and those things have really taken off. And then you kind of use that capital and invest in kind of, scaling properly.
Yep. Well said. That was really well said.
Yes. Thank you. So I
You're welcome.
think let's go through, I guess, a recap of the tips,
Okay.
and then we can go into, where they can find you. And then, I'll give them a little
Sure.
overview of what's going to happen in the little shopping experience.
Okay. All right. So let me get my trusty dusty notes. All right. So 5 key things that we came up with for building your own body care brand or body care products. One, problem solving. What problem are you actually trying to solve? So know your problem, right? And what you're trying to actually address. Second thing, ingredients. What ingredients are you going to use to actually mitigate whatever this problem is that has formed? Three, formulation. How much, how little, how thick, how thin, right? What is the consistency? We need a specific formulation. It has to be the same every single time, and formulation is key. Testing, right? You want to actually test that formulation. How long can it stay on the shelf? How does it have to be packaged? How does it have to be stored? You know, will it actually cause irritation? Has it been tested on, hair, skin, face, um, more, private parts? How actually does it perform, right? So testing. And then know the science. Number five, know the science. You actually want to know the minutia, know some of the details, if not all of the details, about the intricate workings, inner and outer of your product, so that you can actually educate and inform your customers on what your product actually does and how. The how is just as important as what. So you want to be able to educate your customers on what it actually does and how. How is very important. So that's our 5 key objectives.
Yes. And then the bonus, try to keep it simple. Like if you don't have the bandwidth and the resources, if you have the resources and the bandwidth to start off with 10 products, then hey, do that. But if
Right.
you are like, so many of us out there and we're thinking about how we can do things kind of like a cost effective and resourceful way,
Right.
start off with a couple of products. You may have maybe a set of products. Even some of the biggest people, like look at Rihanna, right? She came out with
Right.
Fenty Skin and she started off with a good trifecta, with a trio. You know, she didn't overwhelm herself. She's a billionaire. She has the ability to create 10 products, but she knows, hey, I want to build trust with my customers. So let me just start off with a few products.
Kept it simple.
What I have the bandwidth to do, keep it simple, make sure my customers like that set of products that's supposed to work together, and then start to build my community, get them in, and then start to release more products. So we can do the same thing at a micro level. What do I want to create first? What are kind of some key products that I may want to create together, and then just launch those few things and then build from there. I think that's the best way to do it, based on experience. I think that's the best way to do it. But of course, weigh all your options. But I definitely think that's one piece of advice. That's the bonus piece.
Definitely. You deserve a bonus.
Exactly. You feel me?
Right.
So
you deserve a bonus.
Hopefully that was super helpful for you guys. If you guys have any questions, there is going to be a question box somewhere in this booth. We'll provide additional instructions. But if you have any questions for Dr. White or myself or the both of us, or if you liked this little chat today, please let us know in the comment box. If you have questions, again, let us know in the comment box. Since this is pre-recorded, we won't be able to answer them now, but what we will do is we will keep record of all your questions, and we will either answer them individually, or we'll also be sending out an email blast recapping this in case you miss it. And we'll be sending out answers to those questions so that you guys can have a chance to ask all of your burning questions to either Dr. White while you have a chance, or myself. In addition to that, before, of course, you guys will be able to shop Soapy Faith today. You'll guys be able to interact with us and my two sisters around the products and asking questions. But we also wanted to let Dr. White tell you a little bit about what he has as well, to kind of help you guys arm yourselves with some of the education and resources that you need to be your own chemist.
Right. So I came out, thank you for that, Michelle. I came out with, I authored a book, and it is an entire series called You're a Chemist Too. And it is an interactive chemistry book. So it has experiments in here that you would actually do with your kids. And it teaches them the nomenclature, so the words. It has a glossary in the back. It has, word searches and stuff like that. And it's narrated by me. So I actually explain the science in the book. You can find this at yourachemist2.com. That's YOUREACHEMIST I know that's kind of long, .com, but yourachemist2.com. And we're going to have a whole slew of books coming, actually. So water is the very first one in the inaugural series. So you can get me there, or you can find me on Instagram at DA_CHEMIST. That's DA_CHEMIST, the chemist. So.
Yes. So make sure you get You're a Chemist Too. And if you don't have no kids, you know what I'm saying? If you don't know chemistry, you might be at the kid level when it comes to chemistry. So it's going to be good for you too. I think that's very important. Again, just understanding the basics of the science is going to be extremely important if you're thinking about starting a business, especially in the beauty care realm. So definitely make sure you cop that. Again, that's at You're the Chemist Too. I'm going to include the link in our booth as well, so that when you guys are checking stuff out, you'll be able to take a look at that. And of course, go ahead and cop that. So hope you guys enjoyed this chat. We want to thank AKA Conundrum for having us today. Very excited. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the full immersive Black Biz experience. This is amazing to be able to have this virtual shopping experience, because as you can see, we're all in the comfort of our homes. So who is not like shopping and learning from the comfort of your own home. So again, thanks AK Commander for having us. Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
listening in, and we appreciate you. Again, if you have any questions, drop them. If you enjoyed this, you know what I'm saying, take a little screenshot and add us at Soapy Faith, Soapy_Faith, and then add us at DA the Chemist _ on Instagram, and holla.
Holla.
Thank you. And then, of course, let's get to shopping. If you have any questions about Soapy Faith or you're interested in trying us out, let us know. We'll be answering your questions. And, maybe the chemist, he'll stick around, you know what I'm saying, to answer some of your soap questions too.
I got some recommendations. You got to get Faith. Man, that bar smells so good. I love
Oh my
it.
God.
So it's
Yes.
one of my favorite.
Yes.
So if you buy
gentleness.
Faith, yep, gentleness. I like
So many
gentleness.
people
I like
love
Faith.
gentleness, and then so many people, I love King Me,
King Me. Yeah,
My
King Me is one of my favorites.
is goodness. By the way, all of our soaps are named after, well, one of our main collection is named after the fruits of the spirit. So of course, if you need some goodness, if you need some faith, you know what I'm saying, it's made to not only cleanse you and give you that self-care experience on the outside, but it's also meant to give you that self-care and uplifting experience on the inside as well. And don't forget, it's still COVID. All of our soap does break down bacteria, germ, and viruses. So make sure you are washing your hands. You can use the soap all over, and to keep you and your family safe. So
I wonder if anybody's going to ask me, how does it do it? Because I could give you that little tidbit. So put that comment down below and I'll tell you how the soap actually breaks down bacteria and viruses.
that's bomb. We should save that for the email for the people.
Yeah, we're going to save that.
Yeah,
I got a whole little spiel on that. I didn't want to get too technical though. So I just,
let's definitely do that as a bonus. So since you guys are with us, joining us today, you guys are going to get some extra information about how the soap actually does that. So that'll help you to arm yourselves in these COVID streets. And then of course you can be like, you know what I'm saying? Now I got a cousin that's a chemist, because basically we're cousins now.
Yeah. Soapy cousin.
Exactly. So thanks everybody. Thank you for joining, and
thanks for having us.
Look forward to chatting with you soon. Thanks. Bye, Dr. White.
Bye, Michelle. Soapy sister.
Bye.